Hey, I'm Laura, and recently I got the opportunity to go to Texas and visit the set of the hit series The Chosen. Ahead of season 3, I spoke with some of the cast and crew of the series to get their thoughts on the new season and what it's like playing such iconic figures. I hope you enjoy. Well, guys, it is such a privilege to be chatting with you. Thank you so much for speaking with us today.
Thank you.
You guys, I think, are the backbone of The Chosen. We all know it's true. It comes out of the writers, what we see on screen. And I mean, Tyler, you've been there since the very beginning. Tell us a little bit initially about the actual origin, the heart of wanting to bring The Chosen to life.
That's a great question. Dallas and I were working on a little short film in 2014 called The Shepherd. And The Shepherd does have the heart of what became The Chosen. He said, I want to approach the nativity story through the eyes of someone no one has considered, or from an angle that often isn't visited. And then he had another stipulation, was that he did not want to see the angels. And those were the only two things he told me when he asked me to create a treatment, an outline for what would become The Shepherd. And that has continued on. We've wondered, the Bible tells us that a paralytic was let down through the roof by his friends. And so we've imagined, well, what if that friend was an Ethiopian woman named Tamar? We just invented her. The same way we invented the shepherd, even though shepherds are mentioned. So it started and has continued in the same spirit since the beginning. And
how do you guys remain true to that original spirit, the direction you wanted to take The Chosen?
I think what the shepherd did was it grooved a perspective, and it introduced a lens to see Jesus that I think was revolutionary. I think it allowed this material that is sacrosanct to be explored in a new way, in a safe way, in a way that allowed us to take every sentence and period and fact and detail and stay true to it while exploring the margins, because what we have often is a record of what people did, and so we get to imagine why those people were led to those decisions or led to those moments.
And what's your inspiration for that imagination? How do you decide what might be the backstory of a character or what ones to add into the script?
We always start with what's in the Bible. That's like the backbone of it. And then we just sort of peer between the lines and use our own life experience, our research, things that we've learned from history of the time, that might be plausible. And that's what all writers do, is we imagine plausible circumstances that could create something that is relatable, and that people who are living in modern times, even though it's a very old story, ways that they can still relate to what's happened in the past.
And the relatability is a huge thing that has made The Chosen successful, I think, and that I hear rumors more of that's going to be coming through season 3. What are some of the modern day issues, I suppose, that you're going to be dealing with this time around? Can you say?
Some of them we can't say, but there are...
Yeah, it depends when you air. What I can tell you is that one of our stories this season that's got legs is the story of a married couple, and so we explore what that's like to be accountable to another person and to also follow Jesus. The challenges, the trials and travails of being in a coupling that is then tested. And these are things that I think I'm struck daily by breathing into these characters who suddenly feel so modern when you imagine what those things might have been that led them to the decisions that they made.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the things you can't forget, that they were humans. They had 24/7 lives, not just the verses in Scripture that we actually see.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
It's a huge part of it.
Yeah, and in bringing season 3 to life, of course, we're getting to see more of who Jesus is and his character. In the writing process for you guys, what has it meant to you to relate to Jesus through the lens of storytelling, not just through faith?
That's a great question. It's very easy over the centuries to start to view Jesus as sort of a flat character, because the stories have been told over and over again. Many people from the moment that they could understand stories, some of the first ones they were hearing were about Jesus. And so being able to approach him as someone who's funny, who's a little bit sarcastic, who can throw a little sass sometimes at people when they need it. That has been so fun and has just endeared me to his teachings. And like you said, these characters had 360 days a year and 24 hours a day of life that we don't see on the page in the Bible, and that's true of Jesus too. And so getting to look at that has made spirituality for me like more fun and like less of a religious exercise and more of a creative and frankly sometimes funny journey.
I mean, it's a huge responsibility that the viewers, the audience who've so embraced this show come to you guys with, wondering where are you going to take it next and how are you going to deal with these not just iconic characters, but true heroes of faith. What's your feeling around that responsibility that you carry? Are you aware of it in the day-to-day execution of your beautiful role as writers?
Oh, it's too much. It's too much. We try to keep it small.
Yeah.
Right? So today's exercise is about the tension that may have existed between James and John. Brothers and side-by-side companions since childhood, now suddenly embarking on a bigger calling. What are those tensions like? And so if I can just keep it about my brother and I,
right,
then that can be enough for today. I have the best team that I could have ever hoped for around me to tell me at the next stage, no, you've left the roadmap.
Yeah,
we're now in territory. So we check each other, and the enormity of the responsibility that you talk about is shared, and so that makes approaching every day's work a little easier.
Yeah, that is a great perspective that you bring to it, I think. Just simplifying it and, breaking it down, I suppose. But it's a great project that is impacting so many of the viewers' lives who watch it. How has it impacted each of you guys working on it from behind the scenes?
It's been so fun to get to work on this project as a team. None of us, we all bring something unique to the show, but we're also not working in a vacuum. We rely on each other. Each one of us has a special skill that we're contributing to it. And so I think it's become truly a new family in a way. It's funny, people talk about having a chosen family. We literally have a chosen family. And they're people that we spend our days with. And it's just like we've gained new friendships and new insights into Scripture. We've also welcomed in this enormously generous global fan base of people from every corner of the world whose lives we might never have come into contact with. And we get to hear their stories from some of the most faraway places of what it's meant to them to see this brought to life. And that's just been so enriching.
Yeah, and what about you, Ryan? How's it affected you?
Oh boy, it's the experience of a lifetime. I mean, you can never count on anything you write being seen by anybody. And this experience to hear from people from the Philippines, to meet an intrepid reporter from Australia, to have the opportunity to even talk about Scripture. These are every day is a gift, and it really feels like the enormity of it. I can't touch because it's too humbling, too stupefying. I have to keep it very small. So right now I just have the opportunity to talk about what it's like to write The Chosen.
Yeah.
In an hour I'll be rewriting. We've got mud on the set, so we have to write for mud.
Working on the next bit. And I have to ask you guys, when you're working with Jonathan, do you feel like you're talking to Jesus?
That's the great thing about Jonathan. He's just Jonathan. I ran into him on the set yesterday, and he had just been to Europe, and I was like, "Tell me all about Europe," and he was like, "I'm so tired." And he was gracious, but he was having a really long day, and I was like, "Okay, tell me when the shooting's over." He's a wonderful mortal man, and he knows it, and he doesn't get too big for his britches.
So good. Jesus and Jonathan, both human, love it.
Yeah.
And guys, thank you so much for chatting with us today.
Oh,
thank you.
Next time, Jordan Walker-Ross, who plays Little James, talks about disability representation in faith-based stories.
It's so important to see representation in pop culture, and in faith-based projects in particular, I think that it's having a disabled character that doesn't get healed is so unique.